Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is a weekend review for the week ending January 20th, 2023. OPEX is in the books. Boy, is it getting tight over here. This downtrend we've now touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, 5 times, however you want to count it. We had PPO reset to 0. You look at this fib, like I like to look at all the time. We did the 50% correction bit. We can draw this subjectively however we'd like. The bottom line is it's very possible that we've just done the ABC bit. Okay. And now we've started the next wave higher. Keeping that subjective analysis aside, what I like to see is PPO reset to mean. We had that. Price reset to 50% of the previous move. We have that. Saw some accumulation, a base period, and a launch higher. And we now have the moving averages about as close as they've been since, in a really, really, really long time. Since the bear cross here. The death cross, as they call it. So this is definitely getting very, very tight. ADX on the weekly is confirming what you should be able to see with your eyes, that there is no trend. This thing's just been sideways now for quite a while, going back 7 months. And if you really go back to May, price is flat. 8 months, it's gone nowhere. Okay, so if she breaks out above this, and more specifically above 410, this thing is going to move quick. And there is a gap here at 422. 433 would really be the target. QQQ. Again, I want to notice on the weekly here, there's no trend, guys. This is range bound. I know we're breaking out new bull market. We're breaking down new all-time lows. We have no trend. It's range bound. Nothing's happened. Okay. Now that we know that, I just want to point out that this downtrend that we do have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches here, seems to be running out of steam, and the bull volume is increasing while the bear volume is declining. And the PPO here has a nice little divergence. As I pointed out a few times on Twitter, and I pointed this out in Thinkorswim, QQQ has a TD9 DeMark buy setup on the monthly, which is extremely rare, and a 913.9 buy setup on the weekly. So I'm being very patient with the Qs, and I'd like to see how that one plays out. I still do have a position here. I'm not micromanaging it. My position is a much longer term view. I am playing the weekly charts, and I'm being patient. But just pointing out how close this one is to a breakout as well. Speaking of breakouts, let's talk about the ones that already broke out. IWM already broke out. Back tested the 50, the 200, above all the moving averages on the daily. That's what you want to see. Above all the moving averages on the weekly. That's what you want to see. Everyone wants to talk about a downtrend. I mean, maybe there's a downtrend still, maybe not. What I can say is slope of the 50 here is up. Slope of the 200 is up. 50 is above the 200. The 5, the 10, the 50 are all within $1 or $2 of each other on the monthly. And this looks like accumulation. Again, where? At a very, very, very pivotal area. The former resistance. Are they confirming it's now support? It sure looks like it. And again, this one looks to be breaking out to me. This looks like a back test. Now, what is possible in the bear case? Something like this. And we pull all the way back down to 175, 176, hit this demand, and then rally. And I've talked about this one many times. I'm not really sure how you want to draw this, but we do have a really tight coil. I mean, I guess they could coil one more time and come back down like I was talking about. But they're running out of time. That's the theme this week. Every chart, we're running out of time. And there are a few charts at IWM and SMH that have already broken out. And this to me looks like an inverse head and shoulders. The volume is confirming, increasing bull volume on the way up, declining bear volume on the way down, increasing bull volume on the way up. ADX is rising with PPO, histogram is positive, and PPO is about to breach the zero line. It's exactly what you want to see, above all the weekly moving averages, above all the daily moving averages, and about to get the golden cross. This is very bullish. This looks like a brand new bull market to me. You add in the fact that you just had a Brett thrust, you're about to really, really disappoint a lot of bears in SMH. To me, SMH still looks the strongest. IWM is the second strongest. XLF is the third strongest. Or this, I mean, who cares how you rank them at that point? Already had the bull cross. See how much further along she is in this process. And what you could be having here is just one of these numbers. You could be in the process of one of these. Okay. Well, we're just going to stay range bound between 33 and 36. But the long-term picture is weekly PPO positive. This is a bull trend. Histogram positive. Monthly PPO reset. EMA 5, SMA 10 cross on the monthly, which is very bullish. And we did come back and test this former area of resistance. Confirmed it as support and rallied off of it, while PPO went from 12 back to 1, which is mean. Keep throwing the ball around the horn. IYT, this thing topped first. Now it seems to be bottoming with XLF and everything else. Again, these things are all saying risk on. Okay, this long-term macro downtrend has been broken. You could argue that there's, somewhat of a downtrend here, where price could go all the way back up to there, or all the way up to here. Either way, that's 10 to 20% higher. You could argue this is one big bull flag. You could argue that's an impulse move. And we just put in the ABC, and now we're starting wave 3. Okay. Point is, you can look at all that subjective stuff, or you can just look at the momentum and read what it is telling you. ADX is rising. That is telling you trend mode is activating. Again, this could be a lower high. We'll have to wait and see. Price is capturing all the moving averages. You do have the EMA 5, SMA 10 bull cross. You do have the PPO bull cross. And you do have the monthly chart. Again, PPO reverted to the zero line. It is now curling up, just like you had back here, just like you had right here, just like you have right here. And that's usually precedes a much larger move, and you do have the 50% correction. Again, these are the things that I look for. Once I see these things, then I look for momentum to flip up, and I ride it until it flips down. So again, IYT is risk on. I want to go back to IYK, consumer staples, and I want to point out this is what rallies in a recession. Okay, April of 2022, you did have this massive correction. It is possible that was an ABC. This is the new, right? The start of one more massive move higher. Okay, that is possible. We did see the correction here. But I will point out, just gave up pretty much all the moving averages on the weekly. That is a bearish, that is a bear candle, right? Open at the high, close at the low, gave up all the weekly moving averages. Daily, gave up all the moving averages on the daily. Histogram negative, PPO got to the zero line and now accelerating lower as ADX rises. This is telling me that there's a downtrend in play. Zoom out to the monthly. Already had the PPO cross, right? This thing rallied into April 2022. This is something that does well in a recession. Okay, and if you look at this, relative to other sectors that do well at the start of the business cycle, like IYK versus XLF, you will see that pretty much throughout all of 2020, consumer goods outperformed, and now she seems to be underperforming. You could do the same thing You take a look at XLRE, right? Underperforming. You can look at IHF, which is healthcare, versus XLRE, underperforming. IHF, healthcare versus XLF, underperforming. Okay, so all the things that you would see at the beginning of a business cycle are outperforming the things that should be performing well during a recession. Okay, now that we've covered the ETFs, let's take a look at bonds. Bonds looks like she's getting rejected here at the monthly 10. And just from a structure standpoint, we did get one more high. You turn on after hours. She did set a new high, did tag the 200, and that's the end of that for me. I've seen this one play out too many times. That's the counter trend rally. Now we're looking for a pullback all the way back to 100. And if she can hold here around 100 and then break out, all these moving averages will flatten out, and you might even get a golden cross here. So I'm looking to accumulate about 100. TLT also has a DeMark TD9 buy set up on the quarterly charts, which is extremely rare. So this is one that I am watching. Gold is another one that I am watching, but this thing has already rallied quite a bit. Point being, though, this thing it could have more in the tank. The weekly PPO looks great. The daily PPO looks great, but we did just come and fill a gap. So you expect to see some supply and a pullback to EMA 5, SMA 10. And really, this thing looks awesome on the monthly. This is a beautiful setup. You don't see this too often. You have pretty much a triple top here, a large move higher, a very large base, this base, 8 years, and a breakout above this base means something you can't, I mean, it means something very big. And technically, the projection would be somewhere around here, $822 for GLD. Okay? So yeah, I'm watching, and no, you haven't missed anything. You've missed nothing. And so this is something that I'm definitely watching for. And if they get rejected here at 185, I'm looking for a pullback to 138. All right, let's go through some names that I have on the top of my list. MELI being right at the top of the list. Mean reversion in an uptrend, PPO 2-0, curling up now, histogram getting back to the zero line, recapturing all the monthly moving averages. Weekly left shoulder, head, right shoulder, breaking above, PPO positive, above all the moving averages. And this looks like a very large base, and a breakout above 1095 is in the books and could target 1275. So any real pullback here to the 10, any pullback to 1050, any pullback to 1000, 1035, those are all for buying in my book. ADX, PPO, all confirming trend on all the charts. SLX, what you'll start to see is a common theme here. PPO resetting to 0. Didn't get there yet, so this one can go either way. But as long as she stays above this 41 level, this is definitely a breakout on the monthly. Need to get above 69, though, to really get moving. So just on watch. ABT recaptured all the moving averages, broke the downtrend. Right, this is definitely one to watch. Monthly trend clearly up, PPO reset to 0. ADX is not rising, so we're still early in this, correction that we are in right here. But the point is, PPO went from 13 to 0, and we've now got a uptrend. This is obviously an uptrend, so we call this mean reversion in an uptrend, and that's where we would look for one more rally higher. And what I do see here is a potential for this. Okay, come back here to 105. That's where you might get the best entry, and you do have that golden cross happening, a nice little volume profile here telling us that there is clearly demand. So this is one that we're keeping an eye on. AMAT, same idea here. Golden cross just happened on the daily. Take a look at the monthly. Clear uptrend, PPO reset to 0. Recaptured the 10, EMA 5, SMA 10 bull cross on the long-term time frames. The weeklies recaptured all the moving averages. PPO pointing up, histogram up, rising with ADX on the weekly time frame. BKNG in a monster uptrend here. A little bit too far towards the top of the channel for me to be buying at this level. Monthly PPO reset to 0, went negative, bull cross. Obviously massive trend here. Got to be careful, see what happens. If these moving averages roll over on the monthly, that could be one thing. But right now, this thing is definitely moving higher. And you have a clear level to trade against and some levels to go off of. But really, this is a monster weekly uptrend. This is a trend. Okay, it is accelerating higher. Moving averages are all very close to each other. This thing could be going for another all-time high. EFX broke the downtrend. PPO rising with ADX. This is what you want to see on the weekly time frame. PPO on the monthly reset to 0, curling up. ADX is flattening out, so no trend yet. Trying to recapture this 225 level. Again, this is a very new bull market look across the board, and these names should outperform. Every name I'm showing you right now should outperform. Go through a few more and then we'll wrap this video up. Nike pulling back on the daily. On the monthly, you saw PPO reset to the 0 line. Reset, set the bull trap, close below the 50. Again, the 50 slope never changed. Slope is still up. EMA 5, SMA 10 just crossed bull. This is a bull buy signal on the monthly time frame. Zoom into the weekly. PPO accelerating higher. Histogram looks beautiful. Clearly an uptrend. Any pullbacks into 118 or this trend line are for buying. And you would anticipate that this rally continues to fill some gaps higher, if not set a new all-time high or a lower high. TTG, I mean, this is just such an easy setup. 689, 690, 700, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. This is a massive consolidation period. If she can get above, would target 1900. So just watch. Breakout has not happened yet. Okay, monthly could continue to go to the 0 line, but she did go from 16 to 3. And the weekly has already flipped up, and this looks good. ADX is rising with price. Okay, so definitely on the radar for a massive breakout. SE, okay, still a lot earlier. Doesn't really have monthly PPO that we can look at because it's still too early. But you are getting a little bit of a breakout here on the weekly. This one's not as strong as the others. STX, Seagate, you do have a nice little consolidation here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I don't really look at it like that. Not as clean as some of these other ones. Still in a very strong downtrend. Okay, so this is extremely early. But what you do have is an outside bar, followed by an inside bar, followed by a bull break. And that tends to open up 60, 69, this high here. Okay. Again, so that those last few not as strong. SE, STX not as strong. But they've fired on the weekly, so they're definitely worth looking at. WFRD, love this one. Real clear, 37.26 level. Weekly, ADX rising with PPO. Clear breakout above 37. Buy dips into 45. OMAB. Another bull break. Another clear level here where you should find resistance. They came up to it a few times, pulled back, came up a few times, came up, and now are above it. Okay, so this is again, PPO is rising with ADX on the monthly time frame, a huge volume shelf at 50. 50 is your risk level. Things get ugly, they pull back to 50, 51, 52. That's where I'd be buying more. The breakout traders are playing above 67. Just a really clean looking breakout. SDRL, much newer name, IPO'd in June of 2022, but this is clearly a breakout targeting 50. Any pullback to 34 is a strong buy. This does look like a reversal though to start the week. So 36, 37, 40. I'm in. For now, just watching to see if I can get on the train. EDU, PPO bull cross on the monthly, EMA 5, SMA 10 bull cross back here. So that led to the PPO cross recapturing all the moving averages. 81 is definitely in play. I see left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You definitely have that inverse head and shoulders look. And really the targets are 65 and 90. DADA, just love that name. Monthly looks amazing. Again, ADX rising with price, PPO rising with ADX on the weekly. $10 is the level to hold. So breakout above 10, targeting 25 to 32. We will cover NVIDIA, which I've covered quite a bit. One of my favorite looking SMH charts. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, declining bear volume, increasing bull volume, declining bear, increasing bull. Recaptured all the moving averages on the weekly. The monthly has a TD9 buy setup into a rising 50. Look at this volume shelf at 136. It is acting as demand. Again, if they don't hold here, all the way to 37. But right now, higher prices are in play. Broke one downtrend. Really, you can see why this 184 level, this 187, 190, whatever you want to call it, this level is very, very important to get above. PPO is telling us momentum is up. ADX is trying to get above 20, so we don't really have a good trend here yet. Still range bound. But one to watch above 190 is a massive breakout. Crocs, we've been covering this one for a long time. Inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, breakout. At the top of the channel, could easily pull back to 115, but this is still an uptrend. Monthly PPO did the bull cross thing, did the EMA 5 SMA 10 thing after resetting to 0, curling up. ADX is rising with price on the monthly. This is, again, the same patterns on all of these charts. If you can't tell, I sound like a robot. Either way, these are the names I'm watching. Yeah, if you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week.